Hey everyone, I am Kanajin Tipon, BSN1, and today we are going to tackle about the parts and function of the brain through this brain hemisphere hat that I made. So, let's begin. But first, what is the brain? The brain is a complex organ that controls thought, memory, emotion, touch, motor skills, vision, breathing, temperature, hunger, and every process that regulates our body. Together, the brain and spinal cord that extends from it make up the central nervous system or CNS. How does the brain work? The brain sends and receives chemical and electrical signals throughout the body. Different signals control different processes, and your brain interprets each. Some make you feel tired, for example, while others make you feel pain. So now, let us identify its parts and functions. First is the frontal lobe or the brown part, the largest lobe of the brain located in the front of the head. The frontal lobe is involved in personality characteristics, decision making, and movement. Recognition of smell usually involves parts of the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe contains Broca's area, which is which is associated with speech ability. Next is the parietal lobe. The parietal lobe or the yellow part. The middle part of the brain, the parietal lobe, helps a person identify objects and understand spatial relationships, where one's body is compared with objects around the person. The parietal lobe is also involved in interpreting pain and touch in the body. The parietal lobe houses Wernicke's area, which helps the brain understand spoken language. Next is the occipital lobe, or the violet part. The occipital lobe is the back part of the brain that is involved with vision. Next is the temporal lobe, or the red part. The sides of the brain, temporal lobes are involved in short-term memory, speech, musical rhythm, and some degree of smell recognition. Next is the cerebellum, or lower part of occipital. The cerebellum, or little brain, is a fist-sized portion of the brain located at the back of the head, below the temporal and occipital lobes and above the brain stem. Like the cerebral cortex, it has two hemispheres. The outer portion contains neurons, and the inner area communicates with the cerebral cortex. Its function is to coordinate voluntary muscle movements and to maintain posture, balance, and equilibrium. Next is the motor cortex, or the green part. The primary function of the motor cortex is to generate signals to direct the movement of the body. The sensory cortex, or the blue part, receives tactile information from the body, including sensations such as touch, pressure, temperature, and pain. This sensory information is then carried to the brain via neural pathways to the spinal cord, brainstem, and the thalamus. So, those are the parts and function of the brain. Thank you and God bless.